So, hello everyone. My name is Luca Acquerer. I'm a market analyst at Dataxis, and I'm very happy to welcome you all to this webinar on building a successful OTT platform in the Asian markets. This webinar is the second of our series of webinar, and there will be another one in a few weeks dedicated to the mobile content industry in the Asian markets. And one important thing for the audience, this webinar is live, so we will be taking questions from the audience, both during the discussion as well as after the panel discussion. So if you want to ask anything to one of our speakers, feel free to do so, and we'll be happy to help. So this is our agenda for the next hour. So I will be doing a brief market overview to sort of introduce the topic before the actual start of the panel. And during the panel, the following subtopics will be discussed. So the contrasted results for global players in the region, the relevance of local and regional content in their catalog, the right way, the best practices to build the best possible platform in terms of features, specifically overarching features, to deliver the best possible user experience. All of this in order to be able to meet customer expectations. And for any OTT platform in the region, the question of the readiness to pay is also very important. So we will be addressing this as well. The right balance to find between AVOD, SVOD business models, hybrid models, other ways to monetize one's business. So that's for the subtopics of the panel discussion. And without further ado, let's jump right into the brief market overview. So the goal of this market overview is to sort of help define the frame of the discussion. Maybe the first thing to say is that we will be focusing on these 13 countries, so Southeast Asia plus a few countries in East Asia. And as you can see, China is not part of the scope because it is a too specific market. So we thought if we want to focus on Southeast Asia and East Asia, it is more relevant to focus on these 13 countries without including China. So in the north, South Korea and Japan, Taiwan and Hong Kong. In the mainland side of Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand. And on the maritime side, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Brunei, and the Philippines. So these are the 13 countries we will be including in our scope of discussion. And at Q2 2023, they account for 160 million OTT video subscribers in total. So when we say OTT video subscribers, we mean subscribers to any OTT access. So not only to a streaming service, but also to a pay TV service if it is distributed through OTT. So this encompasses all these types of content consumption. So when we talk about OTT in the region, the question of the business model is really crucial because we are talking about a very heterogeneous set of countries. First, in terms of purchasing power, some countries have way more purchasing power than others, and so the ARPUs, the range of ARPUs is very, very big. It can go from very low ARPUs in countries such as Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, to very high ARPUs in Singapore, in Hong Kong. And so that is the first thing that OTT players have to take into account. And the second thing is that on this map, you can see a set of countries, and some of them have more than 200 million inhabitants. So that's the case of Indonesia, whereas others only account for a few million inhabitants. So there's also this diversity in terms of scale, of size of the market. So that is why the OTT players have to find the right balance between the different types of monetization And that is why we wanted to provide some background information on the share of SVOD revenue in each of these markets. So as you can see, as a whole, paid streaming still tops free streaming, quite largely in the region, even though in some markets, so Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, AVOD is already well developed. Most notably, Netflix launched a free tier in South Korea and Japan a year ago. So it seems like AVOD is really picking up the pace in those countries, which is quite surprising because for freemium players, one could assume that the goal is to convert free users into paid subscribers, right? So the question that pops up immediately is, okay, but what is the trend then? What is the dynamic in these markets? And that is what we try to answer with this chart here. So on this chart, you can see the breakdown of revenues by type of content consumption. So pay TV, TV advertising, video subscriptions, and video advertising. Just a few words on the graph. If we go category by category, as for pay TV subscriptions, the total sum had been increasing until 2021. And it brutally decreased in 2022. Just to provide some background information, in our internal sets of data, it is mostly due to the impact of a tier one pay TV operator in Japan downsizing its business. So that is the main factor. There are other factors, but that is the main one to explain this decrease in 2022 that you can see on this chart. If we have a few words on TV advertising, so you can clearly see the impact of the COVID pandemic. In 2020, the revenues of broadcasters, the advertising revenues of broadcasters were smaller than ever. And there was a kind of a revival in 2021 because broadcasters wanted to be back on screen again. But in 2022, the total sum was aligned with the long-term trend, so to say, and it is a bear market, clearly. But on the contrary, video content consumption is clearly rising, whether through subscriptions or through free tiers. So that is the last two items on this graph. So in terms of video subscriptions, it is growing at a very fast pace, and that is why we can reasonably expect that competition will be intensifying with new players coming in. And on the video advertising side, it's a bit different because one given user, can use as many free platforms as he or she wants technically. So competition is a bit different on this segment of the market, but the problem is there are so many types of players who can jump in. It can be broadcasters launching their own BVOD platform. It can be pure streaming players launching a free tier, so just the way Netflix did in Japan and South Korea last year. And of course, social media also play an increasingly important role in this realm. So there are really a lot of players that can be relevant on this side. So if I wrap up what has been said so far, well, for the next year, we know there will be a fierce battle for customer attention. It is highly likely that competition will pick up the pace. And we have already identified some of the key trends that players will be taking into account for their strategy. But as you can see, it will be more and more challenging to establish and lead a successful business in this environment. And quite fortunately, I think our speakers have some insights to share with us on this topic. So let me introduce them. We have 4 speakers today with us. So going from left to right, we first have Kevin Carr with us. He's the regional head of digital at SVOD TV. Then we have Nick Wilkinson. He's the SVP rights at DAZN. Then we have Antoine Vu, who is the technical solution consultant at IMC Group. And last but not least, we have Leslie Simpson with us. She's the country head of WeTV Indonesia. And so I will leave the floor to our 4 speakers and to my colleague Ophélie Boucaud, who is a senior analyst at Dataxis. And I wish you all a great panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca. So hi everyone, and thanks for joining us. Just as Luca mentioned at the beginning of his presentation, I would like to remind the audience that we are live, so we can take questions from you during the session, and we try to address them with our speakers right away, or maybe at the end. So without further ado, I wanted to have a quick round of the table to have a short introduction from the speakers themselves so that they can tell us a little bit more about their role and their expertise. Maybe we can start with Nick.
Sure. I'm Nick Wilkinson from DAZN in London. I'm the SVP of rights, and as such, my remit is to secure rights for the Asian market and to develop new businesses and expansion plans for DAZN in Southeast Asia. Previous to working at DAZN, I was working at 11 Sports, where I set up, launched and ran an OTT platform that we had in 7 markets in Southeast Asia with 400,000 customers.
All right, thank you. Kevin?
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin from Sport TV based in Singapore. Sport TV is actually a South Korean sports platform started 13 years ago, and in the past 2 years we have expanded into Southeast Asia region. My remit looks after the digital business that covers the OTT streaming platform as well as other digital channels revenue. Prior to Sport TV, I was from media entertainment with Warner Brothers Discovery, looking after the OTT streaming and HBO Go, and also on the theatrical marketing side of things. Thank you.
All right, thanks you. Antoine, please.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Anton from Vietnam. So I'm a technical director at IMC Group. So in the past, I have a experience with end-to-end OTT system, so I can understand quite clearly about the OTT system. So hope we will have a good point and good topic to discuss on our event today. Yeah.
Thanks. And Leslie?
Hi everyone, I'm Leslie Simpson. I'm running WeTV OTT app in Indonesia. We are an international version of Tencent Video from China. So we are producing our own local originals, and we are also airing all the originals that we are producing around Southeast Asia market. And of course, we are having our day and date global premiere content from China as well. So yeah, looking forward to a great session today.
Thank you. So as you can see, we have a quite large representation of the Southeast Asian market across our 4 speakers. And the first thing I wanted to address in this session is the first brick that is usually needed to build an OTT service, the content proposition. Leslie also started mentioning it regarding to what kind of content WeTV offers. So maybe we can start with Leslie. How do you build an attractive catalog for your audiences?
Of course, now having a lot of content coming from China, for Tencent Video, we have a lot of costume dramas that have a very high attraction towards all Southeast Asian markets, not only for Indonesia. Now we are able to build a catalog for Indonesian audiences to be able to access day and date contents from China. But we also have a lot of other than costume drama. Indonesians love the modern drama content that we are producing. They are all exclusive for the platform. People are streaming into our platforms for exclusive content, of course. And other than that, we are having a lot of animations that are really awesome. And people are just coming to watch our top 10 selections animes. And in a lot of our markets, we are producing our own contents. In Indonesia right now, we are having in the past 4 years, most probably on Google search trend, our contents are always on the top trending among all the local contents. And we are watching over the whole production process from script to cast, directing, all the selection, and towards the production process, and even towards the post-production process. And from there, we can see that advertisers love advertising towards our platform because we have an end-to-end service for our brands, and not only being able to build in the brands during the production process, but later on inside the application itself for the all our inventories within the app are very friendly towards advertisers. And of course, the topic today is for subscription. So we can see that if our users choose the option of not having only a advertising platform, but they are able to subscribe and skip all the interactive ads.
All right, yeah, very clear. Now I wanted to go to Antoine. What kind of content IMC distributes on the OTT platform? And since you're a more localized service than the other speakers that we have today, what makes you different from the other global or regional players in your Vietnamese market? Sorry, I don't think we have the sound.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm in mute. The fact is that to make our catalog more attractive to customer, we have two ways. That first, we need to more the content on our stock, so that we have a diverse type of content. So that is the first point. The second point is how we categorize the content on our application and so to the customer. And the one point is very important thing that it is the how to say the portal or thumbnail of each content. When people go through our application, they will see the thumbnail or portal first, so they want to try and they want to watch it. So to more attractive, we have some series, and we can free for some first of series, and the customer will try the content, and after that they will decide to subscribe or not. Yeah.
Okay, so for Leslie and Antoine, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So two different with the other competitor. So it is our old production content. Yeah, we have another movie and series we produce by ourselves. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, for both Leslie and Antoine, own productions, rather focusing on fiction, entertainment, and then we have Nick and Kevin who are working rather on the sports segment. So there, same question for both of you. How did you build your content catalog, and how did you acquire rights? What works best in the different markets where you operate? Maybe we can start with Kevin.
Yeah, sure. For us, Sport TV, although we are South Korean platforms, but when it comes to Southeast Asia, we are in terms of content that we acquire, we try to do it a bit differently because Korean content works differently in this region. And for us, we look at one international content property where it cut across some of the markets, for example, like football, Wimbledon, and US Open for the tennis players, and then we also have more of a localized content for more relevance to the local markets. For example, like Indonesia, we know that for sure they are looking for badminton content, they're looking for MotoGP content, versus the markets in Philippines and Hong Kong where this content doesn't work in that market. Then we will have to look at what kind of markets work for them. And throughout the whole exercise, we kind of know and pivot which type of content works for each market in that sense. And then we kind of prioritize the different efforts in terms of how we push out the contents catalog in that market.
Mm-hmm. And Nick?
So we have a twin track approach. We have a big business in Japan and a growing business in Taiwan. Both of those businesses are focused on local content. So in Japan, it's J-League football, it's Japanese baseball. In Taiwan, the business is built around Taiwanese Taiwanese baseball, Taiwanese basketball, and volleyball. In the rest of Southeast Asia, in the markets where we're talking about, DAZN has a platform. The platform is a global platform. It's available everywhere. But what we do is we identify key properties in specific markets, and as and when those properties become available, and if we're able to secure them, then we will grow a local business. So we operate in all businesses, and we try to identify individual markets to grow strongly. And we'd be looking at ARPU, size, connectivity, all of those to try and anticipate and see which markets would be relevant for us to grow in. Obviously there's a different sort of level of attraction for Singapore with a relatively small population but high ARPU versus Indonesia with a huge population but low ARPU. But really it's a content first approach. We can find the local content, then we'll grow a local business.
All right. Yeah, I think we're gonna come back on this point of the discussion around the fact that the markets are very different and you can't really address them the same way, which is why there is a very strong localization strategies when going to Asia in the media segment. I wanted to go back to Antoine first. So you mentioned in-house production. How important is that, and how do you leverage this to differentiate yourself from other types of services that offer content across the media scope, but could be user-generated or shorter form?
So for us that we in parallel we still need to buy other content to reach our stock, but we also focus to the production by ourselves. We have a lot of script. We have a production team, and we will focus to do the research and what is our customer target. And then we will focus to the script and produce for the content. Beyond that, we will cooperate with some partner, production partner. They will have to produce and saving the cost. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Leslie, you also mentioned in-house production and original titles exclusive on WeTV, specifically to Indonesia. How do they perform with your audiences, and are they the type of content that drives most people on the platform?
Entering the Indonesian market with WeTV in the past 4 years, we have seen a very significant growth towards the streaming platform. MPAA came up with their numbers last year that now roughly about more than 10% of the streamers are watching Chinese content. So we are pretty much the only player right now in the market for Indonesian market that is focusing on Chinese content. And other than that, when we are talking about local content, of course, the Indonesians, when there's a market of over 90% of the locals are not familiar with other languages, local content will be the main focus for us. So producing our own content, we have seen that being able to penetrate into the market where series content with high quality that is still not available in the market, we are able to gain a lot of not only free users, but also get a really good ARPU with our users right now, because good content people are willing to pay for, and WeTV have been able to produce really good quality content that has been attractive to the markets, to the mass market. And not only that, we have seen that our local content from Indonesia being able to also be very viral in other markets. We just got an award from breaking a record in Indonesia, where our content Little Mom was trending in over 20 countries. So that was a really recognizable award by the Indonesian Muri Records, we call it. So not only our contents are able to penetrate to the local market and gain a lot of downloads. Last year, we were also #1 download among all OTTs. and also the highest consumer paying consumers. So not only they were downloading, they were watching our contents, but we were able to get also subscriptions for WeTV in Indonesia. And we are also seeing a lot of attraction for our other original contents across the Southeast Asia market. We are our local originals in Thailand, not only being able to grow the series content, we are actually going to bring in an IP from China for our first variety show on OTT that is going to be Asian-wide attraction. So that's an idol show that we are going to start producing end of the year called Chuang. So right now we can see that not only it's starting to get a lot of viral across social media platforms, but also across different markets across Asia.
Okay, thank you very much. And if we talk about sports more specifically, is there also a special kind of traction that's driving audiences when we talk about local events? How important is it to have the rights of local championships and having content that push forward local stars and athletes? Maybe Nick, if you want to start.
So if you look at trends around rights fees in Asia, and if you use those as a bellwether for interest, then I think you're seeing the growth of local and locally relevant sport is growing faster than almost anything else. You know, Kevin will point to badminton, obviously local players. You know, we have just renewed and extended our deal with the J League in Japan, so focus is very much on that. Outside the live environment, original content is important. We use it to bring people to the platform. DAZN owns a social media producer, so we have formats that we can use that we can localize. So we produce a format called No Days Off, which is what sports stars are doing when they're not playing, you know, what they're doing at home, you know, training, etc. These are formats that we've used in the US, increasingly in the UK, but they're formats, so we can adopt them and adapt them very quickly for local markets, for local Asian markets. So they're not necessarily subscription drivers, but they're engagement drivers, because, you know, as you know, sport is very peaky, right? But what are you going to do in between? So we use that kind of content, that sort of support content, that behind the scenes content that we discussed earlier, to maintain engagement as opposed to driving subscription.
And Kevin,
Yeah.
what about SVOD TV?
Yeah, I completely agree with Nick on what he just mentioned. In fact, it's quite similar to what we are doing currently. And our approach is slightly different as compared to the entertainment content. So what we do is that we drive all these in-house productions to look at how social media can be the first upper funnel or first window to kind of draw the people back into the platforms. A very good example is last week we had a MotoGP in Mandalika, Indonesia, that drove our subscriptions and also platform engagements to become the highest in engagement in this year. So it shows that actually it depends on the in-house production strategy in terms of how you do it and also which platforms you go to drive that customers back. I think that's very important. And again, we also see that players is one of the very important local players, very important elements where if we have Indonesian players in a match, for example, in China, for example, that will just create the engagement for the platforms. So I think that is really important for the business.
Yeah, creating a hype also around the local heroes. Now, if we move to a second big part of what builds a platform, I would like to address the question of the features themselves. So what are the key features for a good platform? And maybe we can go to Antoine, since he's technical director. I guess you have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, so the fact that for the key feature of any OTT platform, we should have the first is the analytic system. So analytic will help us to checking and monitoring, and even for some insight about the customer behavior, customer journey. So analytic is the first. So the second thing is related to quality. Quality, we should have a content delivery system. So now it is called CDN. So CDN is a very important point to make sure our content delivery to the customer with the good quality and stable. The third thing is the content protection. So here it means the DRM. So DRM should be implemented on every OTT system. It is the third key feature. So the fourth it is the content detection, mean the watermarking, the fingerprinting to anti-leaking piracy. That is the purpose for content detection. Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of feature and payment also is one feature very important to engage with customer to our system. So payment is also one very important feature. That is some of my key feature I can see we should have for every OTT system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin, I saw you nodding as well, so on several points.
Yeah.
Maybe if we talk about sports specifically, the quality of delivery when it comes to live events is a huge factor in driving success for sports OTT. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I think for sure, as what Antoine has mentioned, I think the quality is one of the things, and to partner with the right CDN partners, the players partners is really important. But then again, the technology out there is constantly changing. So I often spend a lot of time talking to some of the tech houses to look at what are the ways that we can upgrade the system. But when we talk about all the specific features, also I would like to touch a little bit in terms of localizations when we talk about payments just now. So what we have done is also implemented some of the payment solutions that is catered for that market in specific, because for example, Philippines, for example, they don't have, a lot of them, they don't carry credit cards. So we kind of implemented the payment where allow them to pay over the counter in one of the convenience shops, bank, ATM machines. So I think that is one of the hurdles that we find, and we want to make sure that we overcome that part in order to be able to grow in that market. The other thing is that localization again, which means that in terms of content, we do a lot of local commentaries, especially for MotoGP in Thai and also in Bahasa Malaysia in Malaysia as well. So that are the things that to make sure that we remain relevant with the audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Nick, for live events specifically, what are the key features that you want to push forward, and how to best leverage them to drive engagement?
Look, there's a hygiene factor, right? You've got to get on and you've got to stay on, and everything else after that is great, and you will live and die by that. If you sell someone a bit, it's live sport. You don't get a second go round at it. If you can't take people's money, and once they're in, if they can't continue to stream, then the downside reputationally is enormous. But assuming that all works fine, and frankly, most of the time it does. We do other things. We do things like watch together, so you and I can sit there and watch the same game sitting in. I know you're in Berlin. I'm sitting in London. We could sit there and in a
exchange live around the game and so on.
Yeah, what we think, what you think, who's going to score next. Just a conversation as if we're sitting next to each other. And then again, we're starting to broaden. So the DAZN offer typically is a subscription. We're a subscription business. We're launching a free tier, which is going to be very important for us to drive people to the neck of the funnel. But also in some markets, and it's not necessarily in these markets, we have a deal with Fanatics, so people can buy merchandising. In licensed betting markets, we have DAZN Bet, so you can place a bet on the game or indeed a different game. Always of keeping people on and engaged. And again, we're looking to find ways to increase tenure. So how long can you keep on a subscriber? So we might offer you for betting customers, again, we might offer you a free bet. So if you stay with us, you'll get a free bet each month. If you leave us, you'll lose those free bets. So anything that will tie in and keep someone coming in, because your best subscriber is the one you've already got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also the one who's already paying, so you need to take good care of them.
That too.
Yeah. Leslie, do you have specific features on WeTV that revolve around maybe analytics or interactivity that are driving more engagement, and that you want to leverage also to push specific types of content and to your audiences?
Right. So we see that normally in the past, for linear content, linear TV stations, there's a lot of surveys that was being done to monitor the performance of every content while it is airing. And those surveys are normally taken from samples. But now streaming platforms has a huge number of data that we are able to collect. We know exactly where our audiences stop, which scenes they like. And from there, we are able to generate not only the AI learning towards what our audiences like in terms of the look, the feel, the tone of the content, but we are also able to deliver that into the script that we are producing for our WeTV Originals contents, because of the way that the algorithm works. Just gave us so much learning, and we can see that our contents are performing really well. Just as an example, we have a title called Broken Kite. At the time, we had more than 15 million views in a single day. So having that, so just now Antoine also mentioned regarding all the backend systems, it's very important to have a very strong infrastructure so that audiences will be able to watch and stream with that huge number of volume of people coming in to stream that particular content at that time. We were able to give a very stable delivery of our content, and also like what Nick mentioned just now regarding gamifications. Of course, with the background of Tencent Games, we are able to bring gamification towards our content. So you're not just coming into WeTV to watch shows, but we have a lot of games that are attracting the users to come into the app, and they are staying within the app because we are engaging the users. For example, they are able to send some love towards the characters that they like. So when you're watching the content, we are also building an idol community within the app itself. And we are seeing that very, very attractive towards certain age groups that are like Indonesians right now, from what we can see. While now they are leaving the traditional medias, moving into the digital media, we need to offer something different, where all the functions that we are building, including the chatting function that we are having also within the app, we see local Indonesians are, when they are watching we are a very mobile market. So when people are watching within your mobile phone, it's a very individual viewing experience. The chatting actually gives you also a community feel, where you're laughing together and you're commenting together while you're watching the content. So yes, functions are very, very important to us, and having a good technical tech team to be able to back up our application is very important as well.
Yeah, it's a very complete answer, but indeed you touched upon a lot of very, very important topics. Antoine, maybe I just wanted to ask you, since Leslie just mentioned that there's a huge consumption driven on mobile devices, is it also a type of screen that you look at differently, where you push different kinds of features? We also know that from an analytical point of view, you're addressing one person behind a mobile screen and not a whole household like on a TV screen. How does that affect maybe the features that you deploy on mobile screens specifically?
So now you can see that the behavior of audience have changed. they don't watch on the big screen anymore. But now every people will have a smartphone. They have a smartphone, so content, the most of the time they spend. The audience spend most of the time to watch on their smartphone or tablets or even on the PC. So the trending it's also changed. That's why now the content on the smartphone it is the vertical. So in traditional, the content frame is in the horizontal. So that means that the trending is also changed for the screen frame. But for production, we need to keep on board. We need to keep for traditional because the traditional is still in a large demand now, and most of device design for the traditional screen frame. So to produce for the mobile screen, it means we need to do in the parallel. So I think that maybe in the future we can have a stronger mobile phone, smartphone to shooting, and we can edit based on the slug that we record from smartphone. That it's more easy. But now when we produce the vertical frame, that means we will take a lot of time to edit it and to make it for add content and publish to a smartphone. Yeah, but on smartphone now still support for horizontal frame, so that's why we still do at the traditional, but the trending is also change. Yeah, you can see that a lot of content on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok now it is in the.
It's going vertical.
Yeah, because it recorded by smartphone. Then the material recorded result it in vertical. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We actually have a question from the audience that I think would fit the current topics we're discussing. So someone asked, what are the challenges that each of you face when it comes to distributing your content from a technical and cost standpoints? Maybe we can start with Nick or Kevin around live and big events that drive a lot of people at the same time on the platform. I guess the challenges are very much related to that. Nick, if you want to start.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what we were saying before, which is, you know, it doesn't really matter how many people are also watching. Everyone's got to be able to see it individually. If it falls over for you, you know, the fact that you're streaming it brilliantly to 1 million people doesn't really help you. It's got to work for absolutely everyone. We spend a lot of money in R&D. We have something like 1,300 engineers in India, you know, making sure that this is as good as possible, not only for Asia but around the world. I mean, it is. I was at APOS and heard Reed Hastings talk, and he said that he was a technology and a content business. Netflix was technology content business, and you know, and we're the same, absolutely.
Kevin.
Yeah, in fact, we are quite the same in that sense, and constantly technical and cost, these two always goes hand in hand. You try to have a better tech, but then you want to do it at a lower cost. So that's always a lot of challenges. But I guess with the transformations of all the technology out there at the moment, I think there are opportunities where we can actually try to balance both. So that's a constant long battle that any OTT streaming would have to go through, in my point.
Now we don't have that much time left, so I wanted to address another topic, which is the distribution strategy. So how do you all go on the local market where you operate and gain reach fast? One of the big strategy that we see gaining traction all over the world is aggregation. So working with other types of platform that can help you reach your audiences faster, like telecom operators. In Asia, we also see super apps and other types of services that can help you get to our audiences faster. So What kind of partnership did you already implement? What is working good? What would you recommend for other OTT platforms to gain scale in the region rapidly? Maybe we can start with Nick again.
Well, within the DAZN DNA, our commercial partnerships in every market, we work with either a local telco or a local pay TV operator to partner. Making use of trying to reach individual subscribers is great from a revenue perspective because you keep all the money, but the volumes are low and the cost of finding that subscriber is high. So if we look at the way we model, typically our modeling is to assume a majority of commercial third-party partner distribution where we take a lower piece, we take a piece of the ARPU, not all of it, but over time as we get known in the market and as frankly as as we assuming that we can grow our business and have more muscle in the market, then you can drive down you can improve your share from the commercial partner and increase the number of direct to consumer subs that you have. But it's a long road, and take the first business plan and put a big red line through it and start again on that number.
Leslie, I know that WeTV has been driving big partnerships lately in Indonesia. Can you tell us a little bit more about this, and how does this also impact your reach and the scale of your audiences at the moment?
Currently, we see, especially for internet providers in Indonesia, they're very hungry towards people being able to get additional services. Then the internet providers, they are also able to increase their ARPU with the additional service, and we bring in content. It's very, very close connected to internet, of course. And so a lot of the internet providers right now in Indonesia, to their homes, to their offices, they are looking at us, WeTV, as one of the highest consuming data towards the service that they are giving. So then now we are bundled into all the different bundles that they have, like a certain ARPU, they will be getting a WeTV service. And now not only that, we are also currently bundling together with telco partnership, because you also mentioned regarding telco, because telcos, being a mobile first market, telcos are very important for every OTT services. And users, when they are consuming a lot of data, if there's no bundle service, then they will stop consuming, because then there's no data for them to be able to stream our contents. And a market like Indonesia, where Wi-Fi services in the second, third tier cities, where it's not very widely available, bundle service with telco is very, very important to grow our market and being able to get more users.
And Kevin, what about you?
I think we have two tracks. One is that it's very similar with what Leslie and Nick has just mentioned. Telco's partnership is really, really critical in these markets. The other track is that we try to leverage on organic approach, where we leverage on our social media. So we partner with social media platform. For example, we partner with TikTok and Meta. With current trend, TikTok, it remains very important partners to us. So it has grown. It has helped us grow tremendously in terms of the size of the fandom, the reach, and how that translates back to our platform. I think we have seen that conversions going on with the recent live events as well. So I think on our side, we also look at social media platform partnerships.
Yeah, so that could also help not just grow the audience, but also grow the brand awareness and push. Yeah, all right.
At a lower cost.
Obviously. And Antoine, Vietnam is a bit of a specific market in that case, because pay TV operators usually offer a variety of bundles with OTTs from the whole market, and it's a practice that's been going on for quite some years, so quite advanced, I would say, compared to other markets in the region. Sometimes, can you tell us a little bit more about this? How is that advantageous for both the OTT platforms and the pay TV operators?
The fact is that in Vietnam, a lot of TV operator, they run for OTT platform now. So the market is how to say it now it ocean, red ocean market. So for the OTT part, we can develop our customer by sharing a lot of type of distribution. So B2B it is now not the model we are using now, but B2C or D2C it less used in Vietnam market. So B2B we can cooperate with our competitor. Our competitor, we will have a set of customer ring. So to approach or to reach their customer, we need to spend a lot of money and spend a lot of time. So we can share the revenue, and we can cooperate with the competitor to distribute or to sell our content. So that is the way we are working now. The second thing that similar to Lee says that we cooperate with some telco to free data for the customer who use mobile phone and who use the 3 gig, 4 gig, and 5 gig network to watch the content, our content. So that means we can easy to expand our content to the market. Yeah.
Yeah, benefiting from connectivity and
everyone that I think that know handshake it's sometimes we bring the most revenue to our
And we have another question from the audience that I think we can take just for the last few minutes of the session. Someone asked, many OTT providers tend to use public CDNs to distribute their content, which comes at a heavy cost. Have you considered building your own CDN to reduce your costs and actually reinvest that cost in content creation? Or is it maybe too far from the business model that you operate? Nick, if you have an idea on that.
Yeah, we did in Italy, where we have exclusive rights to Serie A to the local football, and frankly, it didn't work so well. I think broadly, it's something that we stay away from. We rely on the security of public CDNs where we have, contracts in place that guarantee uptime, etc. It's not, our skills are buying content, building a platform, and distribution. We leave some of that sort of technical back end to other experts.
Kevin?
I completely agree with Nick. And if we look at if we were to build our own CDN, then again, if you compare it cost to cost, it may not be viable as well. It may not be a viable option. It might be better to go with the public CDN's experts.
And Antoine, is it something that IMC considered at some point, or?
No, yeah, for me, that in another point of view for building the CDN. So the fact is that for CDN, we have some big name. They have a lot of experience, lot of case study, and then they can operate smooth and provide in high quality. In fact, that when we build our own CDN, we will face a lot of things. First is the investment fee we need to invest, and second, we need to operate our CDN system, and it is sometimes that we will always need to pay for the operation cost. So later on, when we have our customer, our audience, or our user increase, it will face a lot of problem with the system, because when we manage it, we not specialize in the CDN. We will face a lot of problem when we operate. We can provide the poor quality to our audience, so we will not the audience. Related to the cost, when we use CDN, we can negotiate with the CDN provider and to get the best price. And I think that it's acceptable when we have the problem with any CDN provider, we can switch to another provider. So now, related to CDN, most of TV operator in Vietnam, they are using multi CDN. Yeah, not depend on any specific CDN. But I think that in Vietnam there is one very big name. They develop their CDN, but and then nowadays their customer, their user in Korea not, and they face a lot of problem when they manage the CDN system. So they also finding a solution that working with a third party or provider, CDN provider, to maintain their services. Yeah.
Okay, and to close the discussion, I'm going to ask Leslie your opinion on that. And is it something that Tencent considered? And then after that, we'll have to wrap up because we're already a bit.
Yeah, for Tencent, we are very, very lucky because we have our own in-house system right now for technology, which is Tencent Cloud. So Tencent Cloud is covering every of our infrastructure, from software to CDN and everything else that we are needing right now. So we're very, very fortunate in that, because we see OTT, one of course, two of the biggest cost buckets would be technology and content. So now, right now, having the technology background from Tencent and providing everything for us, we are very fortunate that by that itself is already taking away a lot of the biggest cost bucket for us.
Yeah, that's true. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining the discussion, and I hope you had a good time with us. We look forward to also welcome you to the upcoming webinars we will do around Asian markets. And I want to thank individually Nick, Leslie, Kevin, and Anton for being with us. And I wish you all a good day.
Thank you so much, Ophelia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.